All right, it's 5:15. This is the Board of Public Works, and we are in City Hall Council Chambers. It is Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. Next item on the agenda is consider approving the minutes from the previous meeting, which is from January 24th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of January 24th meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, all is in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, we have water and sewer agenda items. Discuss and approve water and sewer vouchers.
Motion to approve the water and sewer vouchers.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the vouchers for the water and sewer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all is in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, we have water and sewer operations monthly report. Gabe?
We're currently working on our PSC reports for 2023 and the year-end reports. We are starting with a 20-year replacement on routine meters. We currently were in a 10-year. The PSC has allowed us to go with a 20-year, and then it was a replacement. Meters are still hard to come by, just like every other chain issue. But it'll be easier to stay consistent and over a longer, it's hard to get in houses. We do have a few that we haven't been able to get into for 20 years plus. We've been sending letters. We'll probably, if we can't try here in the next month or two, we'll be at least sending out letters for possible disconnect unless they let us in. It's just a handful of them. Assuming we'll be able to get in, but that'd be last resort. We came up with a sewer backup policy. That's just we'll put that on our website, post it in the newsletters. Just to clarify it, we kind of had it, but it wasn't in writing, so I thought at least we have something in writing now. Exploring options for the utility office hours. The new administrative assistant been splitting time with Dustin, and with us it's been going good here the first 2 months. Kind of looking into it just because for summer hours, I think Fridays would be the most with vacations. So we may be looking at possible Monday through Thursday, 7 to 3:30. They can always come up to City Hall and pay or put a drop box down there also. We met with Strand Engineering on the new facility plan. They gave us a good layout, a future of the plant. We're just kind of waiting until hopefully the end of March we'll receive our permit on time, and then we'll know how to move forward. Is there any questions?
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Hearing none, we'll move on to street department agenda items. We'll discuss and approve the street department vouchers.
Motion approved.
A second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the street department vouchers. Any discussion? Hearing none, all is in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next is consider bids for M 2024-01 O'Day Street project. Rod?
Bids actually came in $3,000 cheaper than last year. Merrill Gravel was the low bidder at $503,000. High bidder was $613,000, so there was a good $110,000 range there. It was good to have 5 bids, so we can kind of see where everybody fell, and I would recommend approving Merrill Gravel at $503,253.37.
I'll make a motion to approve Merrill Gravel.
Second.
503, 253, 37.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Merrill Gravel for the reconstruction of O'Day Street.
The budget number was $600,000 on this project, so we can kind of see where we came in, what we had budgeted.
Well, here's the question for the other agenda item. Would that cover, do you think that'll cover the sidewalk?
It shouldn't cover the sidewalk. It would, but when we get to the sidewalk item, I think we should do a special assessment on the sidewalks like we have in other areas.
Right, I agree,
Yep.
but we still, we still pay for part of that, don't we, or is that
No,
all?
that's all new, so it's,
Okay.
we'll get to that one.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving Merrill Sand and Gravel for the Merrill Gravel and Construction Company for the bid of $503,253.37. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
That will go to council yet for approval, public works projects.
Number 3 is consider options for installing a sidewalk on O'Day Street from Center Avenue to the golf course. At this time, I'll open up floor privileges, if the committee is open to that,
Yes.
to the people of the 7th District. Mark, you want to start it out?
My name's Mark Wykes. I reside at 1007 Pine Bluff, Merrill. I am a resident of the 7th District. I'm also the alderperson for the south side of Merrill. I brought this issue up after I had seen some of the trees cut, and I thought maybe the sidewalk was included in the initial construction project. I looked back and I found it wasn't, and it wasn't budgeted neither. But the reason why it concerns me is it was a safety issue, and I did bring this forward to the Safety and Health Committee meeting on Monday night, and I gave my list of reasons for why sidewalk is needed on at least one side of the road, the north side specifically, on O'Day Street. The first reason is safety. There are many walkers within that neighborhood. And, you know, not all neighborhoods in Merrill have the amount of walkers that we have. I mean, old and young. And we also have a park that's adjacent to that neighborhood. We have a lot of dog walkers. We have a lot of boat trailers going up and down that road. But more importantly, we have a lot of golfers who come in and out of there on weeknights and on weekends, and there's a lot of traffic. And that's the main reason why O'Day Street's being redone, is the heavy traffic that goes down that road. Besides that, I also represent not only the people around T Lane and the Renke subdivision, but I also represent the people of Bell Tower. And it's not a rest home. I mean, these people, it's an assisted living facility, and these people do get out. They use a walker, they can get on a wheelchair, and they do go about T Lane. And I can name names, but I'm not, of some of those residents that do use that as a walking way across into the T Lane neighborhood. Just within the last 2 weeks, Marshfield Clinic announced that they will not, or no longer, send doctors over to Bell Tower, which they had done as a service. And now Bell Tower will have to either have their caregivers or somebody within those families of those people or residents to take those people over to Marshfield Clinic to get checkups. Again, it would not be very safe to go across that street with somebody in a wheelchair or somebody handicapped. So that's another reason. Another reason is access to that park. You know, you have one of the most popular parks in the city of Merrill, and it should be used, and it should have easier access for bikers and walkers. And there are a lot of visitors that come to Bell Tower, you know, and that would be an attractive enhancement of that area as well. So those reasons. I also represented on Monday night Chris McGarrigle, and everybody received a letter stating her issues, and she had 5 main issues. I'm not going to go through them all. You all have the letter, you all read it. That she states why Bell Tower feels strongly also to have a sidewalk. And I would ask this committee to please reconsider amending and adding sidewalk to at least the north side of that street for safety reasons and for accessibility to the park. Thank you.
Just Rod, before we go on with any other public comment, do you want to add any, do you want to talk about the assessment, how it would work? And
If I understand Mark correctly, he's asking for us to add this to the project. In the past, all the sidewalk projects that we've done, we have special assessed. I don't feel TID is, I'm not saying it's not important safety-wise, but some of these TID funds we should be using for road surface. The option that we do have is to special assess the landowners along there, which in this case, if we put it on the north side, we would be assessing Good Samaritan, Bell Tower on the north side, Marshfield Clinic, and Catherine Bame on the south side. When you only put it on one side, it's a 50-50 split between both sides of the road. We've done that on Memorial Drive from 6th Street up to J Stadium. Both sides were assessed at that time, for a good example. So looking at this list that I handed out, you can see kind of who would be responsible for what. Timing-wise, special assessment hearings require, I do believe, a 45-day notice, and then 2 meetings spread out, probably be another 30 days between that. So it's going to put us out 2.5 months by the time we would have the final resolution from that last meeting. We could do it with the grading contractor, Merrill Gravel, have them just prep the surface, put gravel down that we could pour concrete on. The amount would be over $25,000, so we'd have to bid it out in a separate contract, which I think we would get a better price than what we have in this existing contract. We had such a small amount of 4-inch sidewalk on the west end here that we were going to replace. So that would be my recommendation, that we would forward this to the next Board of Public Works meeting, advertise it properly, have a special assessment hearing like we normally do for anything we special assess. But that would put us out a ways, and then these 4 landowners would be noticed as far as their proposed potential liability as far as dollar amount. They would have a chance to come here and speak on for or against it, and then the committee would make their recommendation as far as whether to approve it or not.
I guess at this point, I will make the motion to forward this to a special assessment hearing.
Before we vote, I have a question and a couple comments, if I may.
Somebody would second my
I'll
motion.
second.
Now you can talk, Steve.
Okay. Is there a financial advantage to doing this same time we have the road torn up? to
There
us?
is, and it would be minimal grade prep that I would have Merrill Gravel do ahead of time. If
Okay.
they're in there digging the water main in, we're gonna have that north side tore up, because that's where the water main is going, is in the north half of the road. When we're backfilling, we would grade that and have it all ready to place the sidewalk on.
Okay, so just a small
Yep.
advantage, okay.
It'd probably
You wanna
be
take advantage.
another $4,000 to $5,000 for them to do that, but that can be absorbed into the contract as far as grade prep.
Okay. Also, I caught in there about access to the clinic. We may want to consider some sort of improvements to the crosswalk.
There isn't a crosswalk now, and if you look at where the existing sidewalk ends at Martin Street, we would extend that. It would go through the Good Sam Spirus entrance from the south, and it's going to be on the east edge of their driveway is where it lines up with Marshfield Clinic.
So
there
they've
would
already
be-
anticipated that you're
Yep.
going to be doing,
There-
okay.
There's a crosswalk that we would
Okay,
be
'cause
putting in.
as long as we're tearing up
Yep.
the road, might as well. Okay, great.
Yep.
I want to also mention, just mention access to the park. I recently talked to the head of the Riverbend Trail and asked them to include what we refer to as Lover's Lane in the Riverbend Trail system, and they're actually quite excited about that idea. Everybody know what the Lover's Lane is? That's the path coming right off the the foot of the bridge on the north side of the bridge, heads towards Riverside Park. It's been used for 150 years. And it's a nice, beautiful walkway, and, you know, I think Riverbend Trail would be, to advertise that along with would be great, and they're agreeable on that. I did talk to the golf course a while back about access for carts. They weren't interested. That surprised me. You know, so as far as the golfers going down there, I don't think that's an issue. They mentioned maybe someday, somewhere back by the 9th hole or something, have some sort of access in the future, but the golfers really aren't concerned with that.
They hit their ball that far out of bounds, it's their own problem.
Yeah, and if there was a campground down there, we had discussed that briefly at one time, maybe, you know, golfers might want to take their carts down to the camper, but I think we might have ruled that out because of the floodplain, and the campers would all be stacked up on the east end every spring from the floodwaters.
That's for a different meeting, yeah.
Okay. So that's my comments, and my first thought is it could go to budget next year, but we have a motion just to continue discussion, and so that's all I have to say.
Does the audience want to say anything else? I mean, our motion is to move it forward to the next meeting for a public hearing. So then all these people that are gonna have to pay the assessment will be notified, and they can come in and speak for or against the project.
I just have a question.
Yep. Do you wanna come up, please? Yeah.
Real quick, Rod, the amount you have here, is that for both sides or just one side?
Just one, the north side.
This is just
Yep.
one side?
Yep, it's split 50/50.
Mark Seaman, 1304 Lark Street. Just a question, just for my understanding. When I was at the meeting on Monday, and I heard it tonight too, that there wasn't money initially in the budget for the sidewalk. Yet, I don't understand why there would need to be money in the budget anyway when it's the property owners that are paying for it. So just help me understand.
I think the request that I understood from Mark was we had room in our budgeted amount of 600,000 for the roadway. Could we possibly pay for the sidewalk, the city pay for it? And what I'm saying is, we've done it in the past for other people. They were special assessed, and I can just see the comments coming back. We had to pay for the sidewalk, why don't they? So it is in our ordinance to do it this way, and that's why I'm recommending that we do a special assessment versus trying to come up with some money that wasn't appropriated for sidewalks to budget that the city would pay for.
Okay, I understand that. Thank you.
Yep.
One other question. With that special assessment hearing, so let's say one of the property owners doesn't want anything to do with it. Does that end it?
No.
It's
Okay.
up to the committee to vote, and we can move it forward or not move it forward.
Well, let's play that out. Let's say a property owner doesn't want to pay that part of the special assessment. Okay, so there's a balance out there that they don't want to pay. The committee, I don't know if it's the full city council or,
No, it's us.
okay, decides that, well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that sidewalk. Do they automatically get assessed then anyway?
They do.
Yes.
Yeesh. Okay.
And if they don't pay it, it gets levied on their property taxes.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to understand this whole process, so thank you. I
Yep.
appreciate it, that's all.
It would probably come out of this committee, go to council for
Correct.
final approval, and then the full council would vote at that time.
Yeah, it's a
Mr.
special.
Telesti.
Hello, Jay Telesti. I live at 1306 Lark Street in Merrill with my wife. We lived there for about 34 years. I'm not going to repeat what has been said here many times, but this is a safety issue. And my question is there a payment plan for these people? And they can defer it over a number of years?
Usually 5 years,
So they do have that option.
yes.
And is it possible to pay for part of the assessment by the city, given that this is really a safety issue, and assess part?
Not at this time, no.
No.
Has that ever been done, Mr. Hayden, that you're aware of?
No.
So you couldn't say, we'll pay half and assess the other half.
It's because it's a new project. If it was an existing sidewalk and we're replacing blocks, then it's a 50/50.
Right.
But since it's a new sidewalk, then it is borne on the landowners. And on this side, it's getting both landowners, even though it's on one side.
And then just two other comments. I'm not sure this is relevant, given that your decision has already been, to forward this, but a couple things. The other day, I just counted, there are 9 driveways and 3 streets that feed into O'Day Street in just a 3-block area, which creates a lot of congestion and a lot of traffic coming and turning in different directions. So 9 driveways and 3 streets come in. And also, this was mentioned Monday, the sun is really an issue on O'Day Street. In fact, just driving here tonight, the sun was in my eyes. And in Chris McGurkle's letter, she said the sun's in her eyes, or her employees' eyes, when they're going to work in the morning, going east on that road. It just happens to be where the road's located, and the sun both in the west and the east. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, we have a motion and a second.
Chris might be on the phone.
Oh.
I gave her, Chris McGarrigle. Chris, is that you on the phone?
Yes, yeah, Chris McGarrigle, representing Bell Tower residents. Simply want to add my support for everything that everyone has said, have spoken with our home office, and they are in support of what has been described, and certainly understand the process of moving this forward to a special assessment process and meeting.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, hearing none, we have a motion and a second to forward this to the next meeting with a special assessment hearing, and that'll be at 6, hearings have to start at 6 o'clock, so we'll have a later start date for that.
And I'll have to check on the advance notice, but it may not be at the next meeting, and maybe, I think it's 45 days.
It's 45
isn't it?
days.
Oh, okay, so we gotta wait.
Yeah, but we'll do it in essence of time. We'll get it published, and as soon as it's published, we'll schedule a meeting 45 days from when it's published, so.
So, hearing that, all those in favor of moving this forward signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks. Next, we have general agenda items for discussion and consideration of T-Mobile lease renewal. Tom, you're...
Yeah, we have had a, excuse me, a lease agreement on the East Street Water Tower with various entities over the years. It's currently the lease is currently with Alamosa Properties. They've proposed another extension, basically extending it per 5-year periods, a 15% increase every 5 years, 3% a year. They have been a very easy tenant to deal with, and I see no reason we shouldn't renew it. It's on the standard terms.
Just to note, they did come originally and ask for a significant reduction, and we said,
We were not amenable to that. So they came back with the original terms.
Do we need a motion?
Please.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the lease renewal for T-Mobile. Is it or do you want?
Alamosa.
Alamosa. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, we have monthly reports, building inspector.
You have my report in your packet if you've got any questions.
Are they gonna send notices out to the people that have to renew their block grants? Is that a renewal process? I see there was some in there.
Sure, you keep track of it.
They'll just renew that, is all they
She
have to
sends
do?
renewals out to
Okay.
them. Yeah.
I just had people question me, so, thank you.
Hearing nothing further, we'll move on to city administrator, public works director, city engineer Icky.
you have my report there. I guess there's one thing that we would like to add on development planning. We do own the Merrill View Motel, the old Merrill View Motel area, that building, and our intention is to demo that and create a site for development. It's not on an agenda item, and if there's any objections, we'll bring it back next month, but otherwise, we're going to move forward with that.
We're gonna put it out for bids for
demoing.
demo.
And list it with a realtor?
We're gonna put it out for proposals.
We're gonna put it out for RFPs
Okay.
first.
We'll do both. We'll do the RFP for the demo, and then once the site is cleaned up, and we're gonna do some of the pavement removal and tree removal there and get it shovel ready, basically. There is some contamination there that will stay capped, but then we will put it out for RFP for proposals for development. Just so you're aware of what our planning is.
Hearing no further questions, street superintendent.
Just riding the weather roller coaster. Street sweeping one day, plowing the next, and probably crack sealing in a week or two, so.
I'd be interested in your comments on the mild winter and how we're doing budget-wise.
We'll know more here by the end of March for sure, but significantly better than years past, especially on overtime and materials.
Okay, I'm aware of some commercial properties that have only been plowed 3 times this winter.
Yep, I
So
believe that.
I would think we're saving a whole bunch.
I think
Is
we've
that-
only plowed our full route maybe 2 or 3 times, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
The problem we've been having is finding other work. That's about every tree in the city is cut, right?
We're getting ahead on tree work, yep.
All right. Street and Weed Commissioner Liberty is excused tonight, but with the lack of weather, we haven't had much activities.
Mowing notices.
Yeah, mowing notices probably going on.
And I forgot to put to a motion to place the reports on file.
I'll entertain a motion to place the reports on file.
So moved.
I'll say,
Got a motion and a second to place the reports on file. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, we have, next meeting would be Wednesday, March 27th at 5:15. The April Public Works meeting will be a different makeup, so we'll kind of play it by ear at that point. Does that work for everybody, March 27th?
Sure.
Public comment period. Last call for public comment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
second?
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.